Welcome to Joy Tank.
Gentlemen, welcome to Joy Tank. We're going to cover fitness on this episode. What's been working for us? We made it through 31 days. We each went a little bit of different routes, which I think is totally great. Tyler and I picked up the Fitbod app, and we've been working on that. It's been good because you input the different equipment you have that's at your use, and then it works out a fitness program for you. And I've been liking it. I recommended it to my mom, so that's how much it shows that I liked it. Tyler, you've been liking it. You can pick your split, whether you want to do a push pull and a leg day is what I'm doing. Leg day times 2, working out 6 days a week. Dumbbells up to 35 pounds and a pull up bar, and then Tyler, you got basically the same thing going on, except you got a kettlebell that's in the mix. So the app automatically includes that in your workouts if you want to. You can set how many reps you do. You can set the weight you lift. But let's go around and introduce our guests. This is our not our first episode with guests ever, but I don't think
It's
we've
first
ever.
Riverside.
It's the first Riverside recording
with
with
guests.
guests, and this is the first time we've ever had 2 guests. I believe, right, Tyler?
Yeah, so this is going to be a complete circus. I'm super excited about it.
Well, especially because I was like, hey, a chat with the boys tonight. I'm sure I'll have the robot driving me, but yeah, I guess we're doing a full on, like a recorded live. Is this a live podcast?
I'm not going to tell you that. I just want you to kind of believe,
Okay, I'm
whatever
just
you
going to
want about
assume this is live. So,
Yeah. Okay. So, boys, we're going to talk about fitness. We're going to talk about what we know, what we don't know, where we've failed, where we've succeeded, where we want to be, and exchange information. That's kind of my hope. I also have been talking to my mom a lot about hypertrophy and stuff. How about you guys? Where are you guys at with that?
Yeah, go through Chris and Tim real quick. Talk about over the last like 30 days. And Chris, you can go kind of back to October because that's when you kind of started to start getting a little more disciplined. Talk about the good for like a minute of like what is working for you right now.
Yeah. So, I mean, full introduction. I'm sure our audience probably knows who I am, but my name's Chris. Good friends with all 3 of these hooligans.
Chris Trillia!
uh, Over the course of the year, I started a new position with my company. I travel significantly. I a frequent flyer to Vegas every other week, which means lots of good food and lots of good drinks. Therefore, over the course of the year, I've put on a lot of unwanted weight. It became more relevant to me in September when I came back from like a 5-week stint on the road, and my wife told me I looked extremely fat and bloated and unattractive. And so,
Oh, bro.
she's the sage of truth, and so that really lit a fire under me. And so over the course of our lives, we do different diets, different workouts, etc. But there's a new complexity with I'm staying in hotels a lot, so I utilized ChatGPT and was just like told it, I was like, hey, treat me like I'm stupid. Like I don't know nothing about calories. I know nothing about workout plans, and I just know nothing. I want to lose. At that point, I actually weighed 193, so I was like, I want to be down to 165 by April. Give me a plan that puts me in a caloric deficit and that workouts are easy on the joints and something I can do at hotels. And it gave me such great advice, such a good plan, and I actually learned a lot that I did not know. So I guess this is like a small footnote, but uh, around the space that I've never known is like when I was younger, I knew how to cut weight in really unhealthy ways. Obviously, Nathaniel, you were a wrestler as well.
Yep.
So knowing how to cut weight in unhealthy ways that are unsustainable and draining on your body and your mind, but at this stage of my life I don't need to do that to myself. So this was learning how to be healthy, fully equipped for work and agile, like physically and mentally. And so chat really set me up really well to be in a caloric deficit, pair foods that are no sugar, no carbs, but high fiber vegetables. Learning that sweet potato is a superfood and I love it. And since I started this in October, and I nearly met my goal by December, which is crazy. So I've almost shedded 30 pounds. I'm at 167 right now today.
Nice, bro. Nice.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's awesome, Chris.
Nice work, Chris.
Yeah.
Not
Tim,
So
how
not
did
what's
such a
January
pudgy
go for you?
papa anymore.
Yeah, no more pudgy papa. But what's working well, I would just say, you know, there's no miracle plan. There's no miracle workout. I think what I'm learning is it just what matters more is what you knowing what you want to achieve. Because some people are like, well, I want to lose weight and build core strength, but then they do a ton of cardio and they're just eating up their muscle. And so it's like you have to know what foods you want to eat that are going to fuel your goals. So if you're just completely around shedding weight, it's like, yeah, you see, be in a caloric deficit and not eat garbage. So I think right now, like my main focus has been being disciplined, walking at least 12,000 steps a day. On my lift days, lift hard and eat the right food.
Nice. And 12,000 steps, that's no joke. That's a lot of walking.
Yeah. And then I try to
Yeah.
get it. I mean, I have so 3 days of the week, it's like more than the steps. It's like I'll like, I'll walk on the treadmill here or there, but it's like I will do a 4 mile run or a 5 mile run Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday.
Nice. Very nice. Tim, what's been working for you this month? What have you been up to?
Oh, doubling down on my spiritual health has led to me becoming healthier in every category of my life. My financial wealth, my health wealth, my time wealth, and my relationship wealth have all seen compound positive effects over the last 60 days, for sure, in direct correlation to making myself more available to practice the way. Now,
I know we had a video call on, I think it was the first weekend of January after like a week had gone by, or I guess New Year's was like on a Thursday.
yeah,
And then we had a call on that Saturday. We're running. You did a cold plunge in the Deschutes. Nice job on that, by the way. And then you sent us kind of some screenshots from your Apple Watch. What have you been able to get in? Have you been hitting the gym more? Have you been working out at home? What's been working for you?
gym time with buddies, lifting heavy, working out with people way stronger than me, and just pushing myself to just say I'm just not going to change the weights. I'll just do less reps, but lifting impossibly heavy weight, basically PRing all the time and doing like 2, 3, or 4 sets, and then lots of warm ups, lots of push ups, lots of sauna, lots of cold plunging, and then some intermittent fasting. And then at the end of this month, I did a 72-hour fast and was still saunaing, which I don't know. Chat was a little mixed on that. They're like, that's risky, but I
Yes,
did
it
But how did
is.
it how did it go for you? Did you feel fine?
Oh, it was a little dicey there at moments. Got a little dicey,
A little close to death,
little
whatever.
spinny, but we powered
Yeah.
through, and that cold plunge just resets you.
Wake you right
If you
back up. Yeah.
yeah, if you
Both
go
the
a little
sauna
too
and cold plunge at your house.
yeah, the sauna and the cold plunge are like they're close enough proximity that if you're fading and things are getting a little tunnely in the sauna, you just go head first in that cold plunge, and it's like baptism. Come out a new man every time.
Nathaniel, I'd like to. I feel like I've got a billion questions for Chris and for Tim about like their specific protocols they're using, what they're consistently doing in more detail. Why don't you go over what you've been doing and what I've been doing and what we're doing differently, and then we'll all just kind of compare notes because we're both.
Excellent. So
Yeah.
what I started doing the first week was I told myself, all right, if I'm going to try to get in shape, I'm going to start to hit the cardio hard and try to get that under control. And then I can mix in some other workouts. So started hitting the treadmill, and then Chris Trillia kept posting these runs that were faster and farther than my runs. And so that's when I decided running was stupid. And so at that same time, after the first week of running and Chris just dominating the whole entire thing. Every time I do a 3 mile run, and he'd do a 4 mile run and do it faster than my 3 mile run. Then I do a 4 mile run, and he'd do a 5 mile run and beat my pace. And so I was like, all right, this is for dumb people anyway. I don't want to be like a guy. Nobody needs to run this far. And that was the same time that you had shared the Fitbod app, and you're like, hey, this is pretty cool. So I downloaded it, input the weights that I have, let it know that I had a pull-up bar, and it started to calculate different workouts for me based on the push-pull leg day. And it works out really nice because it's not too long. It's anywhere from 20 minutes to an hour, depending on how much you understand your body and what weight you're going to be lifting and all of that. So that's what I've been doing. The last 4 weeks was just Fitbod. The first week was cardio before I came to the realization that cardio is dumb.
Can you? I've actually never heard of Fitbot. Like, is it similar to Apple Watch? Like, what is this?
So it is just an app on your phone, and what you do is it does correlate with, and I highly recommend it. Like I said earlier, I recommended it to my mom. She has yet to download it, but I got a link I can send you for 14-day free trial, Chris. It's what I like about it is that the workouts are pre-planned for you, so it takes out like the guesswork of figuring out which muscles we need to work today, which ones we worked yesterday.
It's pre-planned, but first you have to tell it what workout system you want to have. Like, so for example, you can do like a bro split or a PPL or upper lower, and whatever your cardio. I think it tracks cardio to some degree.
You can
and
tell
then
it whether
it lays
you want
your workout
to track cardio or not. I have the cardio turned off because I don't have the Apple Watch, and this was after my revelation of cardio is dumb. So, but
okay, we're gonna talk about it. Hold on.
Well.
Okay, so I've been pretty much parallel with Nathaniel, except I got this awful, like almost 2 week long head cold. So you had a mild head start. It was a week and a half. I don't know. Anyway, but I'd started doing the badge tournament started before that, and I was doing like burpees every other day, secretly trying to get my number up so that I could completely dominate you and Gordon in your burpee numbers. Anyway, but then realizing I wanted to gain muscle, wanted to gain strength, wanted to keep fat off the body for the rest of my life, and just wanted like longevity of life. Like I want to live long. I felt like strength training was where primarily I wanted to go. So for me, it was a mild calorie control, primarily then focusing on getting grams of protein in, and then trying to figure out how strength training worked. And I had no idea you'd be this sore every single day doing strength training. But yeah, then we started figuring out splits, different ways to organize your weight training every week. And yeah, now I am in Nathaniel's position as he was to Chris with running. Now Nathaniel is kicking my butt every day in total volume. I feel like we're fairly neck and neck. You recently started pulling away in total volume because in total volume, like if you do 10 reps, 10 sets of 10 reps of 10 pounds, right? You're going to pull a total volume of 100 pounds, right? Versus doing 1 rep of 100 pounds, you've done a volume of 100 pounds. So whether you do, like Arnold Schwarzenegger was famous for doing super light weights, but he would do so many reps, he'd get to failure doing with high reps, low weight, and got huge doing that. But you can also get hypertrophy, which the muscle size gain doing high weight, low reps. But the total volume moved that you track every day is going to be the same. So it's like, and it's a weird, immediately there's like an ego problem where you're like, okay, how much can I bench? Like which is a fine, like if you want your goals to be all about your max, but if I can only do 400 pounds once, but then the guy with like 20-pound dumbbells is going to outperform me doing tons of reps, and he's going to get more muscular strength and size gain from it. So like the revelation of like how all that worked has been immense, and realizing, and then getting interested in it because I realized strength and muscle size and functional strength is like an IQ test. So when you see like big hulking guys, if they are free of gear, then they have passed this discipline and IQ test kind of wrapped up into one, because you can't get strong unless you have like extreme consistency week after week. And it's an IQ test because there's all sorts of knowledge barriers you have to pass in order to get there. So it became my new jujitsu, basically, with my bad knee. So weight training is the new jujitsu. So that's where I've been. We're like 1 month into weight training, and I'm digging it. And
I'm
Nathaniel's
Is
I'm
beating
this
me.
feeling
is
good about it
this
too.
Tyler?
Go ahead, Chris.
Is this your first time, Tyler? Like diving into weight training?
It's not my first time diving into exercise, but I've always just been super into bodyweight exercise. I've always just been super into sit-ups and lots of push-ups. I've just been like, I got years ago got convinced by my buddy Tyler Neal that push-ups and pull-ups and bodyweight exercise are like the most life-changing thing you can do. And he's totally like lean, shredded, super strong. Um, and I think he's still on that track. And so I've just started doing that and got really into that. And then Nathaniel and I started doing push-up competitions, and that was super fun. But this is my first foray into going into the gym. This is my first foray into like having weights, and also having any, and also like with that, with a system. So that was like the first thing that immediately changed. Because also, like, if you just go lift a weight and there isn't a system, you realize when you stop and think about it that you barely ever go and actually lift those weights, or if you're not keeping track of it, right? So as soon as you
Hmm.
put a system in place, then there's like requirements for you on how often you need to go in every week. And so then it's not random. And so it becomes, you get results. So yeah,
Hmm.
I've never done any of that before. That's for sure. Have you?
Yeah. Younger, when I was like, I mean, obviously wrestling in high school, sports, football, all that. I would say majority of the time I was a meathead. I would say just like my freshman year of high school, probably up until my sophomore year of college. Once I didn't have free gyms anymore, it turned into mostly cardio, calisthenics, and push-ups.
Chris, do you
Uh,
know if you still hold the record for pound strongest?
I
Was
doubt
it?
it. Yeah, I doubt it. My high school, I did. Yeah, it was my senior year. I held pound. It was like a new record for our school gym. It was like pound for pound. My senior year of high school, I graduated weighing 119, but I was benching like 225 deadlift, almost 400 squat, about 380, and so it was just like the pound of my personal weight versus what I was doing in the three things. It was like a record for our school, which was pretty cool.
So, Chris,
Chris is a
Nathaniel and I are on a strength training. We're on a strength training kick, and I want to talk to Tim about what he's been doing with. Or did Tim just disappeared? I don't know.
He might be back.
He might
I
be
think
back. He's
keep
got the link.
rolling.
He
Yeah.
got
Chris,
scared as soon as
we're
we said deadlifts, and Tim's like, "I'm out of here."
no. I want to talk to him about what split he's using, but. Uh, I'm curious, Chris. One thing Nathaniel's been interested in is working. We're trying to decide, like, do we stay in PPL? So we adapted PPL, which is push pull legs. So it's Mondays push, Tuesdays pull, Wednesdays legs, Thursdays push, Fridays pull, Saturdays legs, Sundays rest. That's how we're doing the PPL. That's kind of the most conventional way. I've been thinking about switching to like a bro split, which is one body part for each day of the week. So then you're only working out each body area, muscle area once a week. So if you do biceps on Tuesday, you're not going to do biceps again until next Tuesday. So it's like it's like a whole week. So it's a little bit more, you're going into the gym kind of going, I'm going to destroy this one body part, basically.
Are you going
I
to
Mm-hmm.
physique, Tyler?
Yeah, I have a physique membership. Yeah, although I've
Okay,
primarily just been at home. I'm just running out of dumbbell weights at home at this point. So
nice.
yeah. So yeah. Anyway, but one thing we've wanted, Nathaniel's really wanted to involve cardio. I don't really want to involve cardio. For me, I love 6 count burpees, and I think they're incredibly fantastic cardio. If you've never done 2 minutes of like 6 count burpees, like when you guys get good at it, they can do, a half an hour of 6 count burpees. It's absolutely insane. But Nathaniel really loves running. Chris, I would love to convince you to join our Joy Tank daily workout group and get into weight training again. And maybe in an exchange, as a barter, you can teach us how to involve cardio in our uh, weight training, heavy resistance, hypertrophy plan.
I want to just on osmosis. I would do that deal, but I would need like an injection or a pill. They could just drop the cardio value into me, Chris. So if you could develop that, that would be great.
I,
A
I don't
cardio
have,
pill?
dude.
It's
I
called
do
gear.
not.
It's called gear.
I I won't even say, dude, cardio. I mean, I am interested this year. Uh, I mean, even when Nathaniel and I lived together, I used to run a ton. I think the older I'm getting, it's obviously running a lot's not. it's not easy on your joints. And it sounds weird to say that like the older I get, but dang, dude, I'm
Dude,
pushing for
100%.
I'm pushing 40 in 2 years, and so um, I think the internal conversation I'm having with myself is longevity. Longevity. It's like what? Because even if you lift too hard, it's not going to be good for you. But if you can build up that core strength now and maintain it, the older you get, you can sustain that. Um, so I think like right now, I'm very interested. Mainly, like my all this the kind of started off for me is just wasn't even a desire to bulk up. it, it wasn't even a desire to be able to get back, like let's get back in the running kick. I was just like, dude, I need to lose weight. And now that I'm losing weight, it's like I'm more comfortable getting back into the state that I once was in. Like yeah, I ran that 5 mile last week, and it was treadmill, so that's a little bit different than running on concrete or even around a track. But it felt, again, I was like, man, I feel like I could actually sustain this and not be like harsh on my body. So I feel
I'm
like
curious to see your
this
guys'
year
blood work.
alone. CR
Curious
what?
to, curious to see your numbers, like your blood work on this process. Like, have you tested your T's, your lipids, your like? When's the last time you got a panel done?
Oh God.
I've never
I've
had a
never.
panel in my life, but I'm highly interested. Tyler, are you at all interested in having your blood work done?
Specifically requested my testosterone yesterday, messaged my doctor on Samaritan My Chart and said, hey, I want my testosterone checked because I want to raise it naturally because I don't want my testicles to shrink forever.
Yeah.
I'd like to figure out like what are all the natural protocols I can go after. And he's going to tell me a bunch of boring crap like you need to sleep and you need to look at the sun in the morning and stuff. But I'm open to it. But I don't know. I don't want to start doing all the stuff. I don't want to take any. I've got like a couple, like Tangad Ali and ashwagandha and stuff like that.
Bless you.
But I don't want to start doing any of that stuff until I got a baseline number. I want to get my baseline testosterone and then do all the crap to try and increase it and see where it goes.
Well,
Mm.
I have gotten some blood work done, and there's something that has tremendously helped my bulk because I've lost 8 pounds this year so far, but I have gained some decent size. So I'm losing probably more than that in fat, but on the gain side, just from focusing on lifting heavy. But one other secret ingredient, I doubled my testosterone in the last 3 months.
So a couple questions. I want to know how do
Yeah.
you double it, and what are you? And I want to talk about your training split and how you're lifting and how you're approaching lifting weights.
Well, hold on.
Yeah.
It sounds like, Tim, you're insinuating that you're using. Are you using a supplement of some form?
Yes.
Gear. Are you on gear?
No, not TRT. So there's like a couple. There's a couple. So TRT is basically full testosterone replacement therapy. That's what TRT stands for,
Yeah, yeah.
and that's like that's like a better after 40 solution because you want to. You're right. You want to like get your body naturally producing the testosterone. The reason why people jump to TRT is because they're not able to get their natural testosterone up to the level they want. There's a precursor to that. So like the thing you do before you want to do replacement, which is some version of enclomiphene. And that basically triggers the body's natural testosterone production without going out of balance of your estrogen production. So believe it or not, it actually stimulates both estrogen and testosterone. But as your body's producing estrogen, your body will respond by increasing testosterone to keep it in balance. And some people don't respond to clomiphene; it doesn't work, and so they go to TRT. I started at an entry level dose, and my total testosterone count went up from like 412 to like 950. So it doubled my
Whoa.
total testosterone. And then my free testosterone, which is like that's the important one, which is like what's actually your body actually using, went from like
9.8 to like 26.4. So I almost tripled my free testosterone. And that happened
Wow.
like basically over like 90 days. And the
Great.
results, like psychologically, like combined with you know, no alcohol this year, which has been a great like clearing of the head. It's just increased my command in a big way. Like showing up to multi-million dollar appointments, and I just feel like I belong in the room. Or I'm hanging out with a bunch of studs who are all completely shredded, and I'm watching my body evolve to that at a pretty rapid rate. And so for me, this is my first time I really lifted super heavy, like constantly pushing myself to failure on a regular basis, rather than just like focusing on functional fitness, which has been kind of my my main approach to fitness for my life is like go for muscle failure. And I think it's that
Hmm.
in combination with the enclomiphene that's resulted in the doubling and or tripling of my testosterone.
That's That's awesome. I definitely have wanted for a long time to get my blood work done. So I need to do that. And Tyler, it's cool to hear that you're already starting down that path, specifically with testosterone. Tim, was there anything else when you had your blood work done that you were looking for specifically? I would assume probably like iron levels and some of those other basic things. Are there anything that you could inform us on that we also want to pay attention to that you've learned that's important?
Yeah, I mean everybody's different, but I just felt like garbage. 6 months ago I was like going through a really challenging time, and I do recommend Oregon Man Clinic. They did solid turnaround on basically anything I asked them. They made it happen, and they gave me some good advice. But my lipid panel wasn't great. It was high cholesterol. Um, uh, I think my triglycerides were high, and it just all the things that are high that would make sense that were really affecting my energy and my sleep. So I was like stuck in this vicious cycle of like cortisone was not regulating properly. So like you really need your cortisone to drop so you can sleep. But if your body's out of balance and you have cortisone spikes at night, it robs your sleep, and your sleep sucks. And then it's crazy how the body is really like a car. Like it's like a vehicle. It's like everything, all the levels have to be kind of dialed for optimal performance. And if one thing goes off, like it can really start having cascading domino effect. And I just started losing my ability to just like grit through it or caffeinate through it. Just like really started, and that lack of energy was like robbing my confidence. So I think that the benefit of just looking at your lipid panels and then also your testosterone, because that's like really is a huge energy and focus driver. And uh, I would recommend any man over 30 to be like checking your testosterone because it starts dropping. And
Hmm.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
it's not that it doesn't take much to get it back into balance or really into optimal peak performance. And it just changes. Like I look at these meatheads at the gym, like how are these guys just constantly every day throwing these heavy weights down? Well, I bet you their testosterone is probably hanging out in the 800s and 900s. And the dudes that have testosterone hanging out in like the 300 and 400s where I was, they're not throwing heavy weights around every day. They're not getting to that point. Like they kind of go together. And so
Yeah,
it
I
was
think
an
that's a good
aha
point.
for
And
me.
I think from a natural perspective as well, if you want to raise your testosterone, working out every day and starting to throw the weights around is like a primary, vital, and required component to raising your number. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
they
So
go
they
together.
definitely go together.
Yeah, you can't just do the enclomiphene and
Yeah,
expect that. But
agreed.
it's like when you put them together, the enclomiphene plus the heavy weights, like the heavy push. I mean, that like tripling free testosterone at that time period. That's like it's pretty hard to do. Pretty untenable even if you're pounding ashwagandha. Like it's just like miracle grow for that part of your body. And it's great because like I did that, I tripled, and then it's like, okay, I'm just gonna maintain. Like this is great. I don't have to go into TRT. I don't have to do more. I feel really good about where I'm at, and it's cool to know. It's cool to know that I have like I feel like I'm at optimal point with my levels that I could really push myself for a challenge, and my body could approach it from an optimal standpoint rather than like feeling I'm
Yeah.
dragged behind this like sort of handicap.
Dude, I mean, I feel like it like obviously if you guys have a specific agenda for the or you maybe not, it's a podcast, so maybe not. But I feel like that is like such a key part of it, regardless of cardio or long distance running or lifting or gaining or whatever, is understanding like the effects of specific things have on your body, and that you can go dig. I mean, you can dig into so many different things. Insulin resistance, what type, how are you controlling your insulin spikes throughout the day? Because that's going to affect your ability to lift, run. Um, you're gonna have energy crashes, all sorts of stuff. I feel like even just like a hot topic conversation could be around like Tim, you said high cholesterol. What does that even mean? FDA and World Organization, like everything we've been told about cholesterol. I think there's a lot to, I don't know, a lot to kind of dig into cholesterol.
Yeah,
I think
Zen wasn't
fat,
helping. Like I
well,
can tell you
fats are
this.
good. Fats are good for you, man. Fats are good, but it's
Tim,
like
what did you say
what
wasn't helping?
fats?
Say again.
What did you say wasn't helping?
Zyn, like chewable nicotine, Zyns, ons, whatever, pick your thing. Tucker Carlson's Alps. That stuff is, although it's like in vogue, like the nicotine, even the pouches, they have an adverse effect on your cardiovascular system and on your heart. So one other thing I did, this is a little product placement here for the Joy Tank here. This podcast brought to you by Ultra. You've probably seen this. I'm going to put this in your Instagram feed. Ultra, Ultra, Ultra. Now it's going to follow you around. This,
No, you guys are gonna get sued.
yeah, so this is a natural nootropic, zero nicotine, no nicotine. And it doesn't do the same thing, but it really just fits the olfactory. But it's got, B6, B12, L-theanine, bunch of other stuff. I can't know.
Which,
Can't
listen,
see what's happening there.
hold on, pause. I mean, this is cool and might be cool. Thank you for plugging Ultra, but here's the thing: how do you know? Like the word nootropics is also a big fat buzzword that people. It's one of those words that right now people are just accepting. And I swear to gosh darn, in 5 years, the studies are probably going to be like, this just in: certain nootropics cause cancer. Like we don't
Yeah.
know. We're just and listen, it's one of my favorite things I keep on my phone. I bring this up. I've brought this up on the podcast before. Is a picture of a 1947 late 40s Christmas ad for snow, for artificial snow. And on the picture, there's a real life photograph of children playing in this artificial snow around the tree because they've put it everywhere. And it's like just like real snow. It was called like Snow True or something. 100% pure asbestos. It says in like the marketing on this like thing. So it's also here's the thing. I'm not saying what the nootropics is bad because it might be fantastic. It probably is. I think that Zen is laced with chemicals, and when you go read about the ingredients, that seems pretty true. But I use Rogue pouches. Might be giving me cancer. Might be perfectly fine for me, but I picked it because they distill the nicotine in a different way. However, again, things are being studied as like if you're doing anything that's new, you're anything, and I mean anything that's new, you are making yourself a bit of a guinea pig. So it's hard when you go to the store. The older the thing is, the more likely it is that like perhaps it's not going to kill you. But the newer it is and the shinier it is, and particularly the words that are in it, if they're newer, fancier words like nicotine pouches, nootropics, types of teas. I mean, there's things they have at the you can buy at the 7-Eleven that are now considered like a drug. that have trace amounts of methamphetamine, and they didn't tell anybody that, and there was no ingredient list that came up when that was studied, right? So there's just I just think that the bleeding edge has a lot of problems in it. So I'll just leave that there.
I'll text
I
you guys the
could help
ingredient
you out
list.
with anything, but for you, Tim, if you don't mind getting vulnerable for a half a second, how frequent were you on the Zyn pouches for a while? How frequent was your use? How has it been transitioning over to Ultra? And how's that been as far as and I'm making the assumption that you were on pouches, but how's
Yeah.
that transition been if you were a frequent user of the pouches?
Yeah, I was feast or famine on those. So buy a pack, go through it pretty quick. Um, I would say I was mostly like a golfer, a golf user. Like anytime there's certain things, golfing, fishing, you know,
Activity based. Yep.
activities. But then you're like, oh, I do it for activities. Oh, but look at it. It found its way in my car. Or, oh, it's just still in my pocket. So I guess we'll carry this through the next day. The things that addicts tell themselves. Just being that I have an addictive personality, I could go through a pouch in a month, in a week, or in a few days. Just depended on what kind of level of indulgence. But I would say I was weaning off over the last year, but still buying them. I haven't bought any pouches this year. I just bought this stack of ultras, and every time I felt the craving, I just did the ultras instead. The ultras really aren't. They're not. They're pretty weak. Like, if I'm being honest, they're not like it says nootropics, but it's just like literally B6, B12, L-theanine. Those are like the top three things. It's got like some ginseng root or whatever. But I think they're pretty basic, well marketed things that mainly just uh, fill the olfactory or the whatever the sensation that you think
Yeah,
is
the
safe,
oral
right? Something,
fixation.
yeah,
Yeah.
the oral
Was
fixation.
was the transition very difficult or was it not too bad?
Um, it was
Transitioning
challenging.
over to the
Yeah,
ultras?
yeah, it
A
required
little
some
bit of a
discipline.
challenge. Okay.
Yeah, it required discipline. It was definitely, I caught the wave of like the cream break of like, all right, it's 2026. Like, I'd like to make this year a year where I don't spend any money on alcohol or nicotine, and just like do that. Just be like, all right, I'm going to do it for a whole year.
Yeah.
No nicotine, no alcohol.
You
Little white up through it.
Yeah.
guys, for the sake of transparency, I'll have to say Tim graciously didn't throw me under the bus on your podcast here. I've probably been doing life with Tim in the last 10 years more frequently than I have with you guys. And so Tim knows, when I was living in Southern Oregon, uh, I actually started chewing tobacco. I do long cut.
Oh, he said it. Cat is
Yeah,
out of the bag. Dirty
I was
boy.
doing long cut. I was doing long cut, and then switched over to pouches, but still like tobacco, chewing tobacco. And I had like a journey of on and off type of deal, and then probably had like a 5 year stint where like I just straight up it was like I mean, it'd be a can every 2 days, probably for 5 years, which is like crazy. And this year I'm like weaning off, so I'm off of well, I'm on and off, but I'm doing like kind of like Zen pouches, and in between back and forth to my not long cut, but the chewing tobacco pouches.
Have you tried the Ultra product or any other pouch replacement product at all that doesn't contain nicotine?
No, no. I've done like Zen. I've done what was it? Uh, there's one that's my boss actually gave me a can. And it was like it was like caffeine. It was like a coffee
Uh-huh.
pouch, and it was actually pretty good. I was into it, but I already drink probably like 500 milligrams of coffee a day, of caffeine. So then doing that was just like the zing of it was too much.
Gotcha. No, I quit drinking and smoking 2.5 years ago. And when I quit smoking, I switched over to Rogue. And so I've been on Rogue for a little bit over 2.5 years. but I think that's a good transition. If somebody is smoking and wants to quit smoking, I think switching over to the pouches is better than smoking. But yeah, I think I'm getting close to that spot where I'd love to switch over to like some sort of a ultra or something like that. Might be a next step for me.
What is Rogue is kind of like, it's kind of like Zen, similar, correct?
It's very similar to Zyn, but the flavor lasts a lot longer, and it also doesn't contain some of the same chemicals that Zyn does. But you're probably at that point splitting hairs.
Yeah.
I did want to. Oh, real quick, Tim. I wanted to mention or ask a question. You had said cortisol was affecting your sleep. Now that you're on the enclomiphene, does that does the higher level of testosterone reduce the cortisol in your system, or is there an effect there or a correlation there?
I think I do. I think if I work out harder, what I've noticed is if I work out harder in the morning, and then I do my harder workout in the morning, and I do my like more chill like yoga or cardio or less lift heavy in the evening, then it's better. It's better for the cortisol, right? Like so, getting outside, uh, you actually have a natural spike of cortisol in the morning as soon as you see light. Your body naturally creates its own natural production of it. Um, and so if you can catch that wave and use that wave to like do the heavy lift, my heavy lifts, sorry, I blanked out there, do my heavy lift late in the evening, it'll be harder to sleep for sure. Like I'll feel it. So I don't have a measure of like, oh, is that my cortisol or is that something else? Like it's tough to say. But I was reading about it. Well, Chat GPT knows all. So I just asked Chat. Maybe Grok. Sometimes I cross reference with Grok. Throw a little perplexity in there every once in a while if I want some sources.
There you go. Yeah, get some diversified
Yeah.
AI in there.
I'd like
But
to
that
take
being said,
this
so
moment
if
to
you can
plug
basically
Claude.
get
You all should
the
use Claude.
the
Yeah.
focus on testosterone and the testosterone levels, then you'll be more inclined to lift weights. And if you're lifting weights, then you're less inclined to have cortisol spikes, which means you're sleeping better, which improves your testosterone because your body creates testosterone at night. And then that makes you more likely to work out and burns off the cortisol or less likely to produce cortisol, and you're sleeping better. So it's just like a healthy cycle that basically you
Yeah.
step in. It's a
And
hamster wheel that once you start
yeah,
running, it just continues to happen.
I wouldn't say that it makes you more likely to work out though. Here's the thing. It just when you are working out, you just go harder. Like you just want to go harder. Like you
Gotcha.
want to
Okay.
but to like engage that kill factor, there's still the apathy. Like even there's still the drag that I have to fight through. In
Gotcha.
some ways it's more so because my muscles are just like they're destroyed. Like they're just destroyed
Yeah.
every day. Because like I'm pushing so hard at the gym that like I'm hurting. I'm in constant pain right now. Um and like good pain, it feels good, and it feels good to like push it hard to hurt. But the starting blocks are still a challenge. Like and in some ways, like I'll feel like the nervous, like sort of kind of carnal energy of like, oh, I'm agitated, I need to get after it. But it's still a discipline to be like, I really need to transmute
Yeah.
this into weights, right?
Okay.
Otherwise,
Cool. That's good.
it'll transmute into like frustration on my emails.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Hey, I've got a question. Curious, just is in regards to weight training, what current split are you using, Tim? And then, Chris, when you were weight training, what kind of a split did you use?
Go for it, Chris.
When you mean split, do you mean like what days I'm lifting versus days I'm doing cardio?
Oh no, but that is a that bookmark that because I want to talk about that because we want to incorporate more cardio into our split and would like some help brainstorming how. But no, when I say split, I mean the way you organize your workout week in relation to the parts of your body. So guys will have like leg day is often the
Yeah.
main,
Yeah.
right? But then what are the other days? Some guys do like a bro split, which is a 6 day, 5 or 6 day split, depending on how you want to organize it, where you each body part gets a day. So your shoulders have one day, your back has a day, your biceps have and triceps have a day, or whatever. And so then each body part is like 1 week apart. Some guys do upper lower, so your entire upper body in a day, which is a long workout, and then your entire
Hmm.
lower body in a day every other. We're doing PPL, which is called push pull leg. Yeah, it's the way you organize how you approach systematically
Yeah,
your
yeah,
workout.
yeah. So it's kind of evolved in the last, I would say, the last 2 months. It's evolving. I mean, it just started with me going like, I'm a, you know, I've been a fat turd and I needed to do something. So I just like looked on Facebook Marketplace, bought a bench press with, so I could do bench and squats and pull the bar off and do deadlift. And that's kind of like, there's other workouts I've known, but it's like, as I feel like those are the three core things. If you do that consistently,
Yep.
you're going to work on your glutes, legs, core, chest, arms. And so I kind of was just like doing that the first month. And then in the last several years, someone who actually worked for me for a while, some of you guys know Teddy, but he was really into kettlebells. And he was always like, dude, you should just buy a kettlebell, like work out with one. And I have a 15 pound and a 20 pound kettlebell. And so now pretty much what I do is I get my bench, I do bench press every day, Monday, Wednesday, Friday. I always get bench press in. And kind of similar to what Tim was saying, um, I I'm not even doing sets. I'm doing like 3 sets of 10, but I'm just increasing the weight every week. So I'm adding 2.5 pounds, 2.5 pounds, just add until I'm building up and building up, and I'm just doing the same 3 sets of 10. So that's just the bench. I'm doing that. But Mondays, my focus with the kettlebell is like essentially just a full body workout like circuit. So there's 7 different workouts, and it's meant to just work your whole body. And then Wednesday and Friday, I'm primarily focusing on core and chest with the kettlebell. So I mean, even the full body workout ones, like, dude, the workout is so different, and it's targeting so many different areas of your body. So it's like a single arm, like clean with your kettlebell, but once you're getting it up to this point, you pull all the way up. And that, dude, I mean, working up your whole entire side, your freaking chest, shoulders, arm, like it's everything. So there's a lot of different workouts I'm doing, but trying to focus like full body workout with the kettlebell, but then a focus on chest. And so Monday's kind of everything. Wednesday, Friday is like chest and core.
What day are you doing for rest day? Or are you taking a couple of rest days?
I mean, so Saturday, so cardio, the way I do it is so within all my lift days is like just walk the treadmill. I'll walk like an hour in the morning and then try to walk like either my Shindell and I will like both. We have two treadmills at home, so we'll walk together after we eat dinner, and it'll be like a mile, less than a mile. But it's just for me, it's adding more throughout the day, so I hit my step count. But so I do that every day. Every 7 days a week, I'm getting in all my steps. But
Nice.
on specifically Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday are my run days. And I try to make like Tuesdays and Thursdays when I'm running, I'm typically in between 4 to 5 miles. And I'm not pushing. It's like if I can get a 12-minute mile pace, cool. If it's 11, cool. If it's 10, whatever. And then my Saturday run is the day I like really try to push. So I've had quite a few days I've done like 4 or 5 miles like at a 9-minute mile pace. And then Sunday's our rest day. So Sunday, if I have any activity, it's just we're taking our dogs on a small hike or a walk. But
Nice.
yeah.
Nathaniel, I'd like to. This is very inspiring to me. So I'd like to go over what I know about hypertrophy because that's been kind of my focus versus strength and conditioning training, which is like slightly different. And then we can just all spitball around that. Sounds super fun. Tim, what are you doing for a split? What's your approach?
For just a little bonus ad here. If you don't have a dog, great idea to just pick up one of these guys just to get that morning run in accountability. So just the just a 5 minute run, get that dialed, get that knocked out right out of the gates every day, no matter what. And then back and by, chest and try, legs, abs every day. Basically that. Back by, chest try,
And rest day
leg.
or rest
Say
days, plural,
uh maybe one, six
on
days a
Sunday
week.
typically.
Yeah, Sunday. The Sabbat is the uh Sunday or Saturday. One of the two.
So back by chest try. So is Monday you only do back?
No, back and by, chest and try, legs. And then I'll do so that one day
You
I'll
mean
do like
are you doing all of those in are you doing all of
no
those in one day?
back and by would be one day. Chest and try would be another day. Legs would be their own day. And then I'll usually have at least one day a week where I'm just working out with a friend and I'm just do a full body, and that's when I'll get the shoulders in.
Okay, interesting. So you're doing kind of an augmented PPL. It
Yeah,
sounds like
one.
because you're doing back and bicep, which is very similar to push day, or pull rather.
Yeah, yeah,
Um, and then chest and tricep, which is very similar to push day,
yeah.
and then leg, and then you're throwing abs in throughout, and then legs. I do abs on leg day. So then, and then you do, so that's a 3-day cycle, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and then you start that over again on Thursday. Then you do the 3-day cycle again.
I it's more like one day a week I'm gonna do back and by, one day a week I'm gonna do chest and try, one day I'm gonna do legs. And
Oh, gotcha.
part of it'll depend on who I'm working out with. And then I give myself one day a week permission to just do every single muscle group that isn't sore or destroyed. So just go and do all the weird
Okay.
stuff. Or it'll be like, dude, I was like, oh, I just did chest yesterday. Be like, whatever, dude, let's just do it again, and then we just do it
Oh
again.
boy.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah,
So
I'm
I
like,
wouldn't.
I'm like,
It's
hold on. I'm like so distracted because Nathaniel's mentioned 3 times that he's not drinking, but it just looks like he's drinking a
Just
frothy
drinking a
pint.
giant beer.
Just
Yeah.
yeah, frothy pint right now.
oh, he's got the NA.
It's
Oh wait.
NA. It's
Oh
fake.
wow.
It's the fake beer. It looks like beer.
There's also Deschutes makes the fresh squeezed, which is they make a non-alcoholic version. They just came out with this Patagonia Provisions as well, which is non-alcoholic, and then their Black Butte Porter is fantastic, and it tastes the exact same as their regular Black Butte Porter minus the alcohol. So Deschutes has done a really good job. There's also like Athletico and a couple of these other brands, but Deschutes is knocking it out of the park. Like the flavor of the beers that they make when however they're doing the recipe for the non-alcoholic, it tastes the exact same. So
It's
highly
like
recommend.
it's like all the sugar and crappy carbs, but none of the fun.
Yeah.
All the stuff for building muscle. Yep.
Exactly. That's awesome. Interesting. Tim, I'm really excited to see if you will stay with this organized system or if you're, I mean, it sounds really
It's not
chaotic.
organized, by the way. It's really not. It's
Okay,
just,
gotcha.
it's
You're
really
just
paint
going
on
for
a
it.
wall. It's just like, oh, they're doing. It's really like it's who I'm working out with, right? So if they're like, oh, I'm going to do a bunch of back stuff, I'm like, okay, well, I'll just throw in biceps because I know these guys are working out twice a day, you know.
Okay.
And they're like, oh, I'm doing chest. And I'm like, okay, I'm gonna do chest,
Gotcha.
and then while they're lollygagging in between sets, I'm just constantly throwing in tricep reps. Like, so it's more for me like a time product. Like I go to the gym, I want to socialize at the gym. I like working out with friends. Usually my friends are doing like one muscle group because they're smart, and it's probably the better way to like build results if the physique's the thing. And I'm just like, I just want every part of my body to get worked. And I don't like wasting a bunch of time resting in between sets. So I just like to like keep the circuits going continually. So it's
That
more
make what you just said
chaos.
what you just said definitely makes a lot of sense. I don't think you're alone. I think a lot of people have. I think probably I would even say most people who are not athletes or bodybuilders who are like not successful in weights, but they're just like, you know, your average like 80-90% of people who are going to the gym, I think don't know what the word split even means, or if they do, they don't have a very intentional system of going about it. Like a lot of people go to the gym and they just kind of like grab a little of this and a little of that, and it's just sort of a buffet. Um, and you
Mm-hmm.
also like aren't going on specific set days. There isn't like a dogmatic kind of system to approaching it. And and Nathaniel are both super fairly intense, kind of all in, all out personalities. So I decided if I was going to get a weight training, it was going to be just super intense. So I've just been going after hypertrophy, which is muscle size gain, well, along with strength and conditioning, which is notable though because there's like scientifically there's a massive. So let's talk about some of the stuff we know. I'm going to blurt out some stuff. I would like you guys to feed back and tell me if you disagree, because there's like just like diet, there's a lot of different theories about what works and what doesn't, and also weirdly in fitness. So we're gonna assume we're talking about like extremes of like you are working out every day and like what works and what doesn't. Taking too big of a break is from hypertrophy's perspective. Like if you imagine, like you look at the army infantry guys, like, you know, Colonel Johnson or whatever, Sergeant whatever, he can do 200 pull-ups, and you watch these guys in uniform do this and they're not jacked, and it's
Mm-hmm.
like, how are they doing this? So that's called muscular stamina, and it's the amount of oxygen and blood flow that can and the speed at which it can like move through your muscle. And so it's basically like practical strength. Like that guy isn't a huge guy, but he can do 200 pull-ups and he can do 200 push-ups and he can like ruck up that hill and all that stuff. And then you kind of think to yourself, well, if he's doing 200 pull-ups, let's say every day, and that is what that guy is doing, right? In the army, that's how he got to do that. He just started doing pull-ups every single day. You would think that the guy's biceps would be massive, like Arnold Schwarzenegger, right? Why aren't they? And it's because, simply put, he's conditioning his muscles to never have rest. And because they don't rest, they don't rebuild and replenish and grow to prepare for the next time it's going to happen. If he was doing 100 pull-ups and he just shifted it to, you got to have a minimum of 2 rest days if you want any hypertrophy. But
Mm-hmm.
again, if the guy wanted to do, if he started doing pull-ups every single day and he wanted his biceps to get big, he would, if he wanted his muscles to get big, he would need to space it out at least 2 rest days or doing other muscle groups if you wanted to see bicep size increase. So if the guy's just doing pull-ups, he would do them no more than like Monday and Wednesday and like Saturday. But then
Oops,
he would have
I'm
to,
not
but then
doing
he would do
that.
more, or whatever muscle groups you're working. I'm just saying, Tim, we lost you, but I was
Yeah,
using
sorry
the
about that,
example.
guys. I drove through a dead zone there. Uh, but I just wanted to admit that what I'm doing, I realize probably isn't advisable because when I go for my morning runs, I go by a pull up bar, and so I'm basically do pull ups every day.
So what you're doing, was just explaining hypertrophy. So and it's how different than strength and conditioning. Because if you do pull-ups every day and you do abs every single day, and any of us who do any exercise every single day are going to get stronger and we'll have more stamina. So it means that, and Nathaniel and I had the 30-day push-up challenge where we did 100 push-ups every single day, and I had a couple of elbow injuries I sustained because of that. And we were doing 100 push-ups a day. They didn't have to be an all at once, but I got to where I could do, by the end of the month, I was able to just nail out like 60, 70 push-ups at once. And I was like, wow, my muscles are going to get huge. and they didn't. My muscles didn't change at all. Like there was
So
some
on to
toning that
Chat
happened.
GPT he went.
Yeah. So, well, I don't know. You don't need to care if your muscles get bigger or if you get more toned, but if you could just, then your only other interest would be functionality. Like, so the truth is, if you do 100 push-ups a day, that's great. But the truth is, if you do 100 push-ups every 3 days, you'll still get strength and conditioning and muscular stamina. But then your muscles will also start growing because you're giving them 48 hours scientifically. And in the 80s and 90s, they thought it was really, well, sorry, no, what the science has shown that there's the same amount of hypertrophy that comes from a minimum of 2 rest days as 1 week of rest. So some guys think, no, you have to rest a muscle group 1 week. So that means the guys doing the bro split where they're like, biceps are on Monday, let's say, they're doing curls and pull-ups or whatever it is, and increasing in weight or sets and reps, either way, or both. But you're going to failure, and then you're trying to do another set, and you go to failure, and you wait 2 minutes. And if you don't wait or shift to a different muscle group, you're not going to experience efficient hypertrophy. And then but they gas out and absolutely destroy their biceps on bicep day. And you either have a split where you wait another couple days until you get to biceps again, or you wait an entire week until you get to biceps again, depending on your split and how you want to organize it. There is, from what I can tell, science has shown that there's a slight increase in efficiency of hypertrophy if you work out a muscle group twice a week. So that's why I chose the PPL split, because I wanted to work out each group twice every week. But it also just has to be repetition and consistency, But so if you work your abs, for example, if you are doing weighted crunches, you're doing crunches like with weight. If you do them every single day, you're going to be able to increase the amount of weight and increase the amount of reps consistently. You're just going to be getting stronger and stronger and stronger. Your ab muscle is going to get stronger, but they're not going to get bigger, and they're not going to get more defined. Because, your abs might, if you're cutting fat, which is a different discussion, but and that will happen while you're doing this as well, but your muscles won't start growing and getting more defined unless there's a minimum of 48 hours of rest for your muscles to basically grow in the midst of the lactic acid environment and all the soreness. And so then meanwhile, you start to work on, your different body parts on different days. And that's why a lot of people go to the gym and have kind of like whatever. They go to the gym like 1 day a week this week or 3 days a week this week. And maybe they go 1 week they go 4 days in a row. And then the next week they skip a week, and then they go 1 week, 1 day. The other thing with hypertrophy is like it's very discipline oriented and consistency with your body, because when you destroy a muscle group like on a clock, in this kind of specific way with specific rest days, your body starts figuring out that it needs to just grab all the protein resources it can and shove them in there and make the muscle larger, because that muscle is in high demand and having to do something extremely difficult. So the more it's consistently done, the more your body consistently allocates resources for it. So basically, you have a super organized system, and you're incredibly disciplined about it. And then you also have, a really disciplined like dietary optics on what kind of protein and carbohydrates and sugar and fats you're eating. And if you just like go hard on that for literally, like, guys, like most bodybuilders will say that like 60% of their gains occur in the first 3 to 5 months. Like we're talking like literally 3 months, potentially for some body types, like 3 months of like a consistent split done every week, and you will gain like 60% of the muscle that like a bodybuilder would, right? Like a tremendous amount of growth happens in the first 6 months. Everybody completely agrees on that. So in many ways, the most challenging part is what you do after you hit the 6-month plateau. But like you go through a huge body transformation in the first, month 3, 4, 5, and 6. Your muscles start going crazy. What do you guys think about all that? Does that all drive and make sense with y'all? Does anybody disagree with anything?
Okay. I just want words I heard. Splits. Did you say bro splits?
Yeah, bro split is a type of split. If you type in bro split, that's the one body
Yeah.
part per day
And then
system.
what was the hyper what?
hyper. What word? What are you talking about?
You said maybe it wasn't hyper. What was the not splits, but the other
Hypertrophy. So hypertrophy just
hyper.
means, yeah, hypertrophy. It's the word hyper and the word trophy smushed together. It means muscle size increase.
Yeah, I've never heard these words.
Yeah, for
I
sure.
mean, I think when I hear you, I don't have an argument to it. I've heard actually like randomly, like I think it's like a Facebook reel or some stuff, was the guy who was like mentoring a bunch of lifters, even mentored Arnold back in the day, but
Yeah,
he was big on um really big on doing one focus muscle group once a week, but
yeah,
you lift until failure. So
yeah, exactly.
it's not about high intense weight. It's just lift until
Yeah.
failure. Whatever muscle you're targeting, do it that one workout until you fail, and then boom. I mean, in something like those guys in that era, it's like you can't argue with the results. So like I've never
The bro split is like the old school one. Bro split's old
okay.
school. PPL and upper body, lower body, and some of the other ones are. My understanding is those are more like newer within the last 20 years. But the science still works both ways. And there's a lot of, if you get into like bodybuilders and stuff, there's like it's like Protestants and Catholics. Like there's this massive divide on whether you use heavy weights and low reps or I mean, when you're looking at bodybuilders and stuff, they're still using heavy weights when they're like
Hmm.
the lightweight guys. Like Arnold would still be using more weight than like you or I would use, but it was like nowhere near what the super other huge guys were. So he was known for using more like on the lightweight side, but he would do more reps. So what that means is his workouts are longer because in order
Hmm.
to get to failure multiple times in a muscle group, you just are doing more reps and your sets just take longer to get through. So like with like dumbbells right now, right off the bat, there would be nothing wrong or embarrassing about me curling, bicep curling 20 pounds. But I'm
Hmm.
going to be doing sets of 20, and I'm probably going to have to do a lot of sets. I'm probably going to have to do 6 to 10 sets to get to like complete failure, where you get to failure and then you take a 1 minute to 2 minute break, which is kind of hard. You're sitting there listening to music, kind of stretching, whatever, and then it's extremely hard to be patient. And then you've gone to failure. Now you're going to try to go to failure again. And then there's a whole nother realm of like some guys like starting to do half reps or quarter reps. There's like very renowned like bodybuilder guys who are in there going like, ah, ah, like can't even get it up in the full positive, right? But yeah, but Arnold would be doing lighter weights. He'd go to failure in the same kind of way. It would just take him longer. And what he said is he's like, when you get into like these really heavy weights, guys start getting injured. And you can, because
Hmm.
bodybuilding and powerlifting are two totally different things. And if you look at like the Olympic power lifters, the guys who's strapping belts on and like, right, they're like deadlifting records and stuff. Those guys don't look awesome. They're just like,
No.
they're bulky. They're bulky dudes,
Hmm.
because they're focused on performance only. They don't care about anything else. But they're incredibly jacked, very specific muscles. Whereas the bodybuilders are like trying to sculpt their whole body or whatever, and don't even necessarily care about strength and conditioning or anything like that. So I want just like kind of a balance, but I'm hypertrophy is kind of where I'm mostly focused, I would say. But those guys are kind of like, well, if you get injured, right, which the powerlifters are willing to get injured, the bodybuilders are like not willing to get injured because they're like, I want consistency and I don't want to have to take a month break from a muscle group because I sustained an injury because I was just lifting heavy weights. So then you tend to gravitate more towards machines or lighter reps
Hmm.
because you're like, I'll do slightly lighter amounts and just start increasing my reps more in order to get to failure, take a little bit more time in the workout, because at a certain point it's like, oh yeah, look at how much I can curl or how much I can press. But then if that amount starts to hurt you, now you're not going to be as consistent as the next guy who is using slightly less weight. So it's just a balance. I have a knee injury, so my leg day stuff is lighter weight, higher reps. But I like the time efficiency on arm day of heavier weights. It takes less time. It feels more awesome. I like setting it to where I can only slightly comfortably do like 5 reps. So that's a really heavy weight for whatever muscle group it is. If I can only do 1 or 2, that's too heavy. I want to be able to do sets and like get to failure. So that's kind of
I,
where I've been.
I think we've established this through our personal conversations in our chat, but like for you guys specifically, like what is the desired, like focusing on doing powerlifting for you guys. What is your desired outcome, and what do you want it to contribute, I guess, long term? Like, is it just to look good, feel good? Do you have a specific like lift goal? Like, what are you trying to achieve through your program, I guess?
Nathaniel, you go first.
So my goal right now is just to put on as much muscle as I can. And then what I'm going to gear my workouts towards is something that's consistent for having good cardio, endurance, specifically the kind of weight to strength ratio that plays well for things like the Spartan race. So that's like things like rock climbing and rope climbs, being good with agility and being able to handle my own body weight. But that's phase 2. Phase 1 right now is just build up some muscle by lifting some heavy weights and get a good base group of muscles, and then I'll work on the rest of it down the road. And eventually, I need to work in cardio as well to get that endurance up, and ultimately lean into doing jujitsu here. My son will be 12, and then I can do jujitsu classes back to back with him. So he'll have a class, and then I'll have a class. And when I'm doing that, and I'd love to compete, you want to have just the same as wrestling. You don't want any muscle that's unnecessary. So I think by that time I'll start to lean back down. But for right now, I just want to build some muscle.
To answer his question though, what's your why? Like, why are you wanting to do all these things?
I'm lifting heavy to build muscle is my why.
I know, but why? Why do you want to build? Why do you want to build muscle?
I have less muscle than I want to have, so I want to have more muscle.
Okay. My why, Chris. I mean, I think I'm going to answer for Nathaniel. I think I don't know. I think he's a completionist and he's a goal-oriented person, and he likes just having hard to reach goals. He just enjoys it deeply, and so I think that's a big part of it for him. Honestly, it's
Fair
just
enough. Yeah.
super fun goals to hit. That looks awesome. I think for me, honestly, the number one reason is just longevity, like the whole use it or lose it thing. I think I got into jujitsu a few years ago now, or even 4 years now. Jeez. Just because I was like, man, it's not about hobbies, you know. It's like I really don't even like the word hobby because I just feel like it's doesn't have enough purpose in it or something. I don't want to just like pursue fun things. There's enough fun things. I don't need more fun things, but I do want, things with purpose ideally. And I think longevity is a big thing. Like I want to be able to use my body as long as possible. And I'll thank myself when I'm 60 and don't have diabetes, or when I'm 70 and I can still run, or when I'm 80 and I can still like pick up my great grandkids, you know what I mean? Like, and still like go on walks and I'm not in a walker and stuff. And just getting older and watching grandparents die and how quickly they're getting unhealthy and how much more significantly awful our diet and our children's diets are compared to our grandparents who are already getting unhealthy at 75. Like, and I think our generation is getting really sick really quick, and we're getting degenerative diseases really quick because we just have, I don't know. I'm interested in the discussion. We'll have it on more, we've had it on the podcast. We'll continue to have it. What is the cause? What in the frick happened in between 1960 and 1980 that like quadrupled disease in the United States? I don't know what it is. So for me, everything connects to the Great Commission. Everything. As a Christian, I think the Great Commission is what everything connects to. and all of my theology should be leading me to more Great Commission, not less, and all of my disciplinary practices in my life should be leading me to more Great Commission and not less. It should be leading me towards discipleship and better, healthier relationships as an outflow of that, and it should be leading me towards healing the sick and casting out demons and preaching the gospel. That's how I feel. So, how does muscle size connect to that? It's it's longevity and it's discipline. Like the more hard things I can put in my week that require me to be disciplined in order to participate in them at all, the better for me, because I am not like a naturally structured, organized person. So I think for me, maturity and also just longevity comes from that. And also, I'm going to name drop Dr. Gabrielle Lyons. I think is probably one of the better people to listen to, who's an MD, practicing MD, and who's specialized in just super, probably, the fittest doctor you've ever seen in your life. And her research she has gathered has basically shown that there's an incredibly direct correlation between skeletal muscle um, and disease prevention. Like basically, the more skeletal muscle you have, which is like conditioned strength muscle, the more of that lean muscle you have, the less disease you will have and the longer you will live, period. Like it's a super, super direct correlation. So in other words, like the guys who have big functional muscles, your athletes, your bodybuilders, your power lifters, your whatever, all of those people live like statistically 25% longer, period. They just like live longer. They go into their 90s, specifically the ones who continue the thread of working out as they get into that age. So it's kind of like it's just part of the path that you walk. It's part of like the way. The part of the path is just, I'm going to exercise every week in an inconvenient way that is demanded from me every day. And I'm going to do it until I'm 95 years old. And it has to be that intense, or otherwise my life will get cut down shorter, which means I get to do less Great Commission. It means I get to do less discipleship. It means I get to do less with my family. Like, 20% is that's a big number.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
So, Tyler, if you were to sum this up, would you say you're lifting for the Lord?
And lifting for the Lord, baby. Oh, by the way, look at those that bicep definition. It's always been a strong point for you, but I can tell. Guys, I sorry I blanked out there, went through dead zone, and now I'm back at my house. But I did have another product placement since it seems like we might be coming to the end of the show, and we gotta thank our sponsors.
Tim.
And Trader Joe's, they no sponsor needed for Trader Joe's, but I gotta say the new sparkling water selections from Trader Joe's, just love them. But really, who I'd really like to thank is all-in-one meals. On the note of just great
Tim,
fitness
please
options.
stop. This is awful. Tim,
He
stop.
just
Look at
ruined the
this.
podcast.
Look at this, guys. I just want you to see. This actually could be helpful for you. I can't cook. I can't cook for myself like this, but they gave me the macros: 90 grams of protein, 95 grams of carbs, 29 grams of fat. They did all the macro calculations for me. I just pop it in the microwave and put it in my mouth. So that's
Tim.
kind of a nice
Well,
thing.
Pretty fantastic. Thank you. Thank you
eating
for
food
sharing that.
eating food out of the microwave is part of the problem, Tim.
Final bit of discussion.
Well, I wanted, behind that question,
All right, what product do you have, Chris?
I don't have a product. I have zero products. Behind that, I guess it's just like, I think that we're all still young enough to like in this discussion of like put on mass, cut weight, lose weight. I think like we're slowly but for sure heading in a direction where the probably more important topic, to Tyler's point, is longevity. And a great example of that, I know that when we all lived in the Willamette Valley, uh, I don't know why, but Mitch Bourgeois always just seemed like he was old to me, but probably probably wasn't old when we were all living
Yeah,
there.
he was
But
like 39 or something.
yeah. But I mean, like that dude was like, like Nathaniel, he was like pushing us to do P90X with him or do workouts, and the bourgeois lived down the street from my parents, and when I was a kid, I remember like skateboarding in my front yard, and Mitch was always like every day rode his bike everywhere. And I remember, when was it? It was like before I moved to Southern Oregon. I remember I was talking to Mitch about working, like why does he like what type of workouts he does, and he's not obviously not a lifter. Like Mitch is just a skinny guy, but he's always his workout focus has always been around like longevity. He was a runner, cycles, or does like calisthenic type workouts. And now that I've kind of moved around Southern Oregon, Hood River, now into Utah, I typically make my way back home to the valley every 2 years. And Shandell and I always make a point to go stop by and see the bourgeois. And Mitch is still like, I think he's like 68, still in the gym, calisthenic focus, and still rides his
Yeah.
bike.
Yeah.
And he told me, we just went and saw them. This is like late September. And so we were talking about it, and he told me his focus no longer, it's like, it's not about how good of a shape he is in, it's how well he can maintain his like balance and his body trim enough that when he does get injured, he can recover. It's like, you know what I mean? Like kind of like you were saying, like you see people get older, and it's like how do frail old women die quicker? It's like when they fall and bruise their arm and it turns into an
Yeah.
infection, you know? And
Yeah.
so like Mitch is like, that's like his whole focus. It's like,
Functionality, like
yeah,
super
how
functionality.
can I be functional? How can I be balanced? How do I keep myself as long here on this earth as long as I can? And
Yeah.
I just really, I feel like I'm plugged into that right now, where it's like I'm nowhere near that type of stuff, but I want to discipline myself around the ideas of like, how do you get other illnesses or sicknesses? It's like, yeah, because you eat garbage and you're out of shape, and it's
Yeah.
like it's gonna be more damage on you to get where you need to get if you aren't disciplined than if you are just able to maintain that the next 25, 30 years. And
Yeah.
yeah, so I'm always just kind of curious everyone's motivations. Like I want to be cut, like of course I do. Um, but I'm more concerned of like routines at this stage of my life, where it's like
Yeah.
the time and energy to get as like bulky and trimmed, where it's like I don't have the time.
Mm-hmm.
Which I mean, I don't even have. I mean, you guys have kids, so I have more time than you do. But
Probably.
yeah, you guys have way less time than I do. But uh,
No, I know what you mean. There's a big time cost, and I think you have to connect that to the why, and you can't put all of your you only have 24 tokens a day to spend. You
yeah,
can only
yeah,
put them in so many places. You know what I mean,
yeah.
and here's the thing too, like hypertrophy, Spartan race, whatever it is. Like I think that we dangle the badge tournament was all formulated just to jumpstart people into having some kind of routine. It doesn't matter what it is, whatever kind of carrot you want to dangle in front of yourself, so that you are doing something uncomfortable in some kind of enjoyable way that's challenging your body, that's bringing you longevity, is great. Like I mean, and even in jiu-jitsu they're like, do you want 4 stripes, do you want a blue belt? Oh, you got your
Hmm.
blue belt, do you want a purple belt now? And they keep you in that race for 20 years until you get to your black belt. Like there isn't a respectable jiu-jitsu school that doesn't take a minimum of 15 years if you're like going there every day. More realistically, you go 2 to 3 times a week. It takes you 20 years to get to black belt, man. But
Yep,
that's awesome if the goal is functionality and longevity. Then it's like, yeah, that's going to keep you incredibly in shape and getting incredibly challenged for 20 years. Like
yep,
that's fantastic,
yeah,
so like
and
whatever kind of carrot you need to dangle.
yeah, and then I would challenge my challenge to anything of this conversation is that you said you're not interested in hobbies. I think, and we've had this discussion, but I think that there's an element of like the the word fun, however you want to just however we want that whatever that means to you. Like, I mean, I went golfing today. That was fun for me. But uh I think that the for things to be sustainable, when we're talking about this, it's like there's got to be, and if we're sickos and weird and twisted and everything else, like I'm all about this like hyper focused goal setting thing. That's part of the fun to you then. You know what I mean? Like earning the badge is the fun. And I think that like I know that I've burned out of things at some point when it's become not, I wouldn't say routine, but it's like the dreading and and if the why behind it isn't necessarily strong enough, it's just like I just want to look good. I don't think that's a good enough why for a lot of people, because it's like
Yeah.
to get to the looking good, it's not a lot of fun. Like it's
Yeah.
there's
It's a lot
nothing
of work.
that's a lot of work and it's not fun, and people usually fall off on it because they're tired, they're worn out, it's sucking up their time, they're sore. And so it's like rewiring yourself a little bit of what is fun to me. And yeah, and I think like like we said, like our badges, I'm like lackluster on it right now, but I'm like, oh man, it'd be so fun to get this one. And to me it's just like that'd be fun. And so I think that there's like a part of like a internal doctrine that you gotta like, I guess, make that a doctrine in this process for yourself. um I feel like my day wasn't full, or I didn't have as much fun if I didn't get the 5 mile run in. You know, like it's not fun if I didn't do it. And so it's like
Yeah.
I think that's part of it. You know, it's like it's not that you don't have a hobby. This is your hobby now, and hopefully it's fun. Because if it's not,
Yeah.
you're not gonna. Why do we have hobbies? Because we think they're fun, and if it's not fun, you're not gonna do it. You know, and so I think.
It's true. I mean, I think then it's like, so in it really pick hobbies, but pick hobbies that are going to carry you. Pick hard hobbies.
Mhm.
Pick hobbies that, and pick hobbies that you enjoy, but that turn you into something by the time you're done with it. So that it's so that it can be motivating. Have a goal to motivate you. Get through it. Get into it. You know. I agree, man. That's good. Nathaniel, any thoughts before we close this out?
The only thing I wanted to ask, Chris, since you're still hanging in here, as well as you, Tyler, is was there anything over the last 30 days or anything that you've learned while trying to work out that you would say is areas where you've failed or
Mm.
didn't meet your expectations, or something that you were doing that was in the bad category, where you're like, oh, I was doing X, Y, and Z, and I realized that that's not conducive to what my goals are.
Yeah, I'll do an easy one. Yeah, I think there's like a lot of people jump into dieting or lifting, and ultimately you formulate ideas of like, oh, that means I shouldn't have sugar, and I'm gonna cut out carbs, and I'm gonna eat clean. And I I think I dropped probably my first 10 pounds in a week because I stopped drinking, I stopped eating sugar, and I cut out all carbs. Um, but yeah, cool. You want to lose some weight fast? Do that. Like that's pretty like no brainers. Um,
That'll do it.
but yeah, but the longer I'm going in this, it's like, and the more I'm learning, it's like, oh no shit, like glucose actually feeds your brain, and I haven't had any sugar in 12 days, and I have to prepare for literally like a quarterly business review, and I don't know why, but I cannot focus. And it's like, oh yeah, no duh, like you're straining your, not just your body but your brain. And so you got to know where to find the things that your body needs to just function, and find them in the right ways. So that's like a failure. And I think I'm learning and picking up, and it's like, okay, cool. Like sugars, find the right sugars. Fruits, but then find the right fruits. Nothing wrong with some sugar here and there. Like I put a lot of honey on stuff now. I treat myself to some like dark chocolate here and there. Um, yeah, so you don't have to be like all full blown nut job, because it's gonna, the functions of your body need specific things, you know. So that's one failure I'm learning from. Um, and just another personal failure is just because I travel so frequently. Um, I kind of had like a non-negotiable. It's like, well, if I don't get my workout in the morning, I'm gonna do it at night. But then it's like, well, how late does that mean? And so like I work, like just literally I got back from Vegas yesterday, and Thursday, Friday I didn't work out, and it was like I didn't stop work. I got done with work at like 10 p.m., and then it was like hang out with the guys a little lot later, and then by the time I got to the hotel, it's like I gotta work at literally 5 a.m. So if I like work out, like I'm not gonna be functional. So it's the failure is like stick to your routine and learn to say no. Like I didn't have to work as long as I did. I chose to because I'm, I like the guys I work with in Vegas, and I'll stick around a little bit longer. And then it was like go out late, and I didn't have to do that. I'm technically off the clock, and I did it. And so then, like the personal failure is like I failed myself in the sense of just not by saying no. It's that simple. And I think it's like when you want to achieve your goals, that has to just know has to be part of your vernacular, and you have to say no to the right things.
Totally.
Okay.
Tyler, any failures for you?
Oh, I mean, I think the failure and lesson in the failure for me has just been not being consistent with my split. I've yet to hit 6 straight days of the split. It's just been like a circus mosh pit kind of a thing of like 3 good days, then like 2 days of break, then 2 good days, and then having to just resetting the split or trying to resume the split. Um, so it's fine. Like I'm making it happen. It's just trying to institute a really kind of dogmatic system. Life just has all sorts of interruptions, and trying to figure out like, oh, like should I place this in the morning, or but then I have to make adjustments here and here and here, or should I place this in the middle of the day and make these three adjustments? You put it at the end of the day, and then you can't sleep because you have like a super exhausting workout at 10 p.m. and can't sleep until 2 because there's just tons of cortisol, and adrenaline and everything. So I don't know. I'm still like just that process of fine tuning, and I'm starting now to be on a good run, and that's good. But um, I think for me, the lesson in it is like I don't care if I'm struggling. What I care about is if I'm going to give up struggling or not. What I care about is that as long if it doesn't matter how much I fail, if I'm committed to the system that I'm trying to succeed at, like committed to the point where like I'm gonna die on this hill, I'm gonna figure out how to do this, then we're cool. Like I can fail as much as I need to. I can flop around as much as I need to, making because every failure I feel like to work out is like an adjustment in a in a system that requires me to work out 6 days a week. Every day I don't, I learn 10 things about what I have to sacrifice and what I have to adjust and what I didn't do right and why that failure occurred. So I feel like as long as I just am committed to bang my head against the brick wall, it'll happen, and then it'll feel awesome.
Yeah, I relate to both of what you guys are saying, and in a slightly different category. I had a failure of expectations. So I wanted to do, Tyler, we talked about doing the busy dad burpee workout along with the weights.
Yeah.
And in my mind, I also wanted to stay consistent with cardio. And I also wanted to hit up the ice baths. I didn't do any ice baths this month. Did the cardio the first week and then switched to weights and didn't do any of the burpee workouts. So I want to keep those goals on the horizon for trying to implement those as well. But the one thing that I did do well was stay consistent. So once I switched from running on the treadmill to doing the weights, I did the weights every week for the last 3 weeks. Didn't lift weights when I was out coyote hunting last Saturday, but beyond that, I hit all 6 days. So, and I also didn't get sick. You had the sickness you were dealing with too. So there's a win there, and then there's the level of the goals that I want to achieve, and by not achieving those were to some extent a failure. But I think part of anytime you fail in something, just like you guys are saying, it gives you a chance to go, all right, what was the reasoning behind failure? Whether that was saying no to going out with guys, or the restrictions you have on the hours you're working and trying to implement it, and just balancing everything in daily life. And what I do, I think, fear more than anything is having a day where I do say I do the burpees, I run the treadmill, I lift the weights, and I take a cold plunge. The next day, I have a fear that I'm going to tell myself, well, I did plenty yesterday, so today's a random Tuesday, I got to rest, So I'd rather stay consistent with the weights for now and try to implement the others
Yeah,
as much as I can, than burn myself out or get injured, So I think it's, even in like failure can be such a learning curve, and just because you fail at something doesn't necessarily mean that you should have been doing that thing in the first place.
I agree. And for the record, we will do the
Yeah,
Busy Dad program, at
that's good.
least placing in the ranks so that we know where we're at. To wrap up, Tim, in the last 30 days, kind of heading into the year, where have been your failures and lessons in regards specifically from fitness and working out health?
Oh, okay. You weren't going to mention the technical difficulties throughout the call or my lack of.
No.
Yeah. Okay. All right. We'll leave that off the
Or in
list.
your life.
Yeah. Uh, uh, well, I would say I hate to think that maybe I'm modeling one right now, but the meals after 11 p.m. probably are not advisable. It's just like I didn't eat and I didn't want to stop for fast food or whatever. So I decided to wait to eat until I got home at 11 o'clock or 10:30 or whatever it was. So the late night meals, that's still a kryptonite for me. I'll just freaking pound a whole bag of chips. 10 o'clock rolls around and I'll be like, oh, it's some nice quinoa chips from Trader Joe's with some healthy hummus. And I'll just destroy the whole thing in one sitting. It's gluttonous. I'm 240 pounds. It's a lot to keep this frame going. Maybe I'm down to like 234 now, but still, just inconsistent when I eat and how much I eat. It's just it's not a system. That's probably my biggest failure. And then I would say not surrendering my self-talk soon enough upon awakening. I wake up and I have to fight through a barrage of negative self-talk that often confronts me in the morning of how much I have to get done, how little time I have, whatever it is, rather than just like getting into the space of humble gratitude and quick action. I think that the time I spend in that sort of low vibe space probably hurts what could be just like locking in, getting up, clicking in, knocking out 50 push-ups, knocking out 50 sit-ups, getting out the door is like a lethargic drag into the day that I don't find in alignment with the kind of guy I want to be or the the kind of story I want to leave behind. And I could probably think of a few other failures, but I would put that on health just because it certainly is like the window I have that I know is most important for me to attack my health. And yeah, that's a wrap. I will say on the positive note though, gosh, great being on this text thread with you all. You guys are looking good, super attractive men. And I mean that in the most heterosexual way. And I've just been thinking this the whole time, so I got to say it. Nathaniel's background makes me want to just throw some heavy weights around, right? Just makes me want to go
Yeah.
That's the
chop
way to
some
go.
wood
Yeah,
and makes me want to just tear muscles. That's it. So
good.
I would put that on my success list as, iron sharpening iron, a band of brothers being like, hey, I definitely pushed it a little harder.
Mhm.
I went on one long run after Chris's run, and then I decided also that cardio is stupid. So, I did get a little traumatized by the Deschutes River. That's fine. That trauma is good. But I just want to reiterate my gratitude to you guys. You guys are a bunch of studs, and I'm grateful that many of us have made it a couple, decade plus of doing life together here. So I expect that we'll keep it going at this point. We've made it this far.
Yeah, cheers to that. Chris, pop quiz question: were you in Tim's wedding party?
I was.
Oh
So,
yeah.
Chris, you were in all three of our wedding parties.
That's true.
Yeah, you are the glue, unbeknownst to you.
um, I don't know if I want to, if this is the space to add solutions, but Tim,
Product placement, go for it.
no product placement, no. Vital legs. I was gonna say, Tim. a good solution to late night snacking or just eating garbage.
What?
Uh,
Wait, what late night snacking? What are you talking about, dude?
you,
What are you talking about?
uh, I am in a routine now. I only when I eat a lot of eggs. Eggs should be you probably should put down like 6 to 8 eggs a day. But I would highly recommend just always. I probably now am boiling like a dozen eggs every 2 days, but just keeping boiled eggs in your fridge rather than eating shitty chips at 10. Dude, boiled eggs have saved me. I get up at like my dog wakes up 2 in the morning and I let him out and I'm like walking to the fridge and there's like shit I want to eat and I just grab a boiled egg. Protein, it's gonna fill you up. It like you're not gonna be hungry. It's gonna last long. Like you're just good. It's like a good option. Boil a bunch of eggs, keep them on hand, but they can't sit longer than 7 days. They'll be spoiled. But honestly, I would highly recommend eating 2 boiled eggs over a bag of chips.
All right, I'll take it, dude.
That's awesome. I think if you guys are interested in an amazing weight loss protocol, without getting into the weeds of diet necessarily, like I think the conventional thought is,
Ozempic.
nope.
Dude, Tim is just paid by pharmaceuticals left and right.
He's sending so many
Big
pharmaceuticals.
pharma, baby. Let's go.
No, keep your calories under like 2,200 a day, 2,100 a day.
Wait a
And
sec. I
then,
thought you weren't going to talk about diet.
no, well, I'm not getting into the weeds in diet, but keep your calories under 2,200 and eat 200 grams of protein a day, which pretty much ensures you are eating.
Sounds like diet to me, Tyler.
No, listen, Tim, you can eat whatever the hell you want. As long as you eat 200 grams of protein and keep your total under 2,200 calories, whatever you want. For real. You wake up in the morning, eat a donut, you're screwed.
I feel tricked. I feel tricked right now.
Right? So if you follow those rules and you go after and just pick any split that you can find online that you want to go after, and you guys will all look like Dwayne Johnson.
So now we're getting to the why. He wants to look like Dwayne Johnson. None of you guys were just straight up honest. And when you're asked why do you want to work out, it's because you want to look fit as fuck. Let's just be honest. You want to look great. I definitely want to look great.
Dwayne Johnson. I think Dwayne Johnson looks like a man who does gear and has for 30 years.
Hey, don't you dare talk about Dwayne Johnson that way. He's a good man. He's a good man. Hey guys, I do actually have an ad I need to put out on the note of my why. I am looking to look great because I have an IPO coming up. I'm probably not going to be dating for the next 6 months, taking a little hiatus. But that means somewhere around, June, July 2026, Timmy Boy's going to have an initial public offering. And he's going to be in the best shape of his life on every category.
That's pretty great.
I would really like you guys to just, kind of keep your ear to the ground for any prospective wives for me.
Okay.
Actually, just one. One wife. Just a single wife.
You gotta move out here to Utah if you want that to happen, bro.
Yeah. So, anyways, just going to go on blast for that. So, in case anyone, any listeners
we will also encourage you in the group text to create a diet plan, a workout plan, maybe a split. I don't know, a few of these things. They help with more.
And now I think Tim just secretly, just on a podcast, are you offering us a pre-sale, Tim, if you're going to IPO? Like, what's going on here?
IPO? I mean, yeah, pre-sale. Yeah, you could slide into my DMs early and send me some prayers. You can send me some prayerful encouragement. That's what I want. I want a woman who will pray for me. That's what you should be doing if you want to marry me. Pray to God for me, that he continues to refine me in the kind of man that would be worthy of dating. Hopefully, the kind of quality caliber lady that's listening to this right now and is just deciding if she wants to search at risk _Tim. Slide into my DMs with an impressive prayer.
All right, let's wrap this crap.
Oh my gosh.
I really hope
I
that works.
appreciate
Really.
you all, and definitely for the sake of Chris's sanity, because I think we're beyond midnight in his time zone. We're going to sign off and make sure to keep in your prayers Tim Rist's future wife.
May God rest her soul.